Hello, this is Amber with Polite Best Friends. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that is relevant to dog training, but that a lot of pet parents haven't heard of, and that is extinction bursts. So, extinction is when a behavior that had previously been rewarded either intentionally or unintentionally, it stops being rewarded, and ultimately the behavior does go away. That means that the behavior is now in extinction. It's decreasing in frequency or it's gone away completely. An extinction burst is generally what happens in the meantime. So if your dog has been rewarded a lot for a behavior, let's say jumping, and a good amount of the time they jump up and they get some type of attention when they jump, or if they're begging, and a good amount of the time they get some type of attention or food when they're begging. When we start ignoring that behavior, usually that behavior gets more intense before it goes away. And this is a lot of people's first experience with something that's called an extinction burst. So that behavior increases in intensity instead of going away. Usually that's when we get frustrated and we go, oh gosh, just stop the behavior. And then we reward that behavior unintentionally, just trying to make it so that the behavior stops. We are technically reinforced because the behavior does stop when we reinforce them that time. And the dog is reinforced because they go, oh, okay. So if I just become a little bit more intense, then I get what I wanted all along. So an extinction burst is when we go through that whole behavior. So your dog increases the intensity of their behavior and they don't get anything. Generally, on the other side, the behavior does decrease or it does go away. You'll have to do this a couple of times more than likely, but your dog will be able to learn. The difficult thing is that usually before we train them to stop doing the behavior, we actually do train them to increase the intensity of their behavior. Because a couple of times, usually before I go into someone's home, they've tried to have the behavior go away on their own. So they've tried ignoring the behavior, and then their dog starts barking at them or nipping at them more intensely, and they don't know what to do, so they give the dog what they want. And now the dog's making that association that this is how I get what I'm looking for. Dogs are very smart. They learn by association. So the only thing that means is that the extinction burst is going to be a little bit longer, a little bit stronger, and you just have to be extra prepared for that. When I'm working with an extinction burst, let's say I am trying to get rid of like a begging behavior, I can often help out my dog. So I can add a little bit of management. I can make it so that what I have maybe isn't as tasty, so the dog's not quite as intense about it. Or I'm just ready to interrupt the behavior. Now, with a true extinction burst, a lot of times people just ignore it through to completion, so long as the dog is not getting so frustrated that they actually start to lash out, which can happen occasionally. It's not super common, but it can certainly happen. So if you have a dog who is more prone to violent outbursts, be sure that you're working with a trainer and that you're watching them and you're set up for success so that they don't have the ability to learn, oh, biting you is actually how I get what I want now, instead of whining or slapping you with my paw. On the other side, extinction bursts can be very helpful for dog training. So extinction bursts are actually how we tend to increase the intensity or increase the behavior while offering fewer rewards. So if you've ever been stuck on a behavior and go, wow, if I don't have a treat in my hand at the moment, my dog's not going to do the behavior. First, we want to make sure that the reward is available on you, so that the dog isn't relying on seeing the treat in your hand. You could have the treat in your pocket, behind your back, whatever it is. So they don't need to physically see the treat, but they can still get rewarded. Then I'm going to start only rewarding the best behavior. And I can do this a couple of different ways. I will show you in a couple of minutes. I've been working with a few of my dogs on a couple of different behaviors, and I'll show you how their behavior develops and shifts when I stop rewarding it. The good news is, if it's a new behavior and you want to get rid of it, it will go away much more easily. The bad news is, if it's a new behavior and you want it, the new behavior will go away much more easily. And if it's an older behavior that's been rewarded for longer, it will take longer because now your dog has a history of getting rewarded for this behavior. Remember, extinction bursts are how we make these behaviors stronger. So if you're giving your dog what they want when they increase in intensity, That's what they're learning. They're going, oh, okay, so I don't actually get anything by laying down next to you and being calm and whining a little bit. You feed me when I jump up on your lap, or I start scratching at you, or I start barking at you more frequently. And that's when we tend to get more tired and we just give them what they want. This is one of those instances where you can either ignore it depending on the intensity of the behavior, or sometimes I will add just a little bit of punishment. Now, punishment doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be scary, but oftentimes, because it is often attention-seeking behaviors, I will just remove my dog from the situation. So if they start barking or screaming or getting frustrated at me, I can just go, no, and then I put them away. I'm not mad, I'm not super angry at them, I'm not raising my voice, but I'm just removing the possibility for them to get what they want when they're demanding it. That tends to help the behavior go away quicker, and it also decreases the intensity of the extinction bursts, which means that we are more likely to be successful ourselves. So I do find that that is helpful. We're going to switch over to a little video of me working with my own dogs. This is just a new trick. It's not an unwanted behavior I'm technically trying to get rid of, so do be aware of that, but the concept is very similar. So let's switch on over. So here we have Mally. We've been starting to shape a retrieve behavior, starting off using toys. I'm going to switch to other items pretty soon, but she has no natural inclination to retrieve things, to really hold them in her mouth. She'll play tug, but largely I've just been shaping this behavior, so rewarding successful approximations, getting her to hold things, bring them to me. Here you can see I'm just rewarding her when she's bringing them over to me, so I'm marking yes. And then she gets the reward. So if we're doing an extinction burst, here I actually want to strengthen the behavior. So you see I take the toy, and she's looking at me because she has a history of reinforcement after it. So now she experiments. So you saw that she got a little bit frustrated, so now she's booping it with her nose. She's trying to sit. She tried to bite it. I threw the toy again. I pointed at it. So you'll find that when you violate your dog's expectations or what they think should happen, they will change their behavior. So if you have a behavior you're trying to get rid of, a lot of times, like let's say you pet your dog when they sit down next to you or they stand on top of you. If they are used to you petting them and you're not doing that, often you will see an escalation of that behavior. You'll see that frustration and experimentation. I haven't rewarded Mally still, so now she's looking around and she's going, surely this usually gets me a reward. Let me try something else. So she actually goes and she gets a different toy. Now, I don't want this behavior to go away. So now when she brings me that toy, I will actually reward her. I want to strengthen that behavior. I want her to want to retrieve it. So for me, because I want a stronger behavior, I was waiting for that little extinction burst after she had a lot of repetitions in retrieving behaviors, and I rewarded her for it. That strengthens the behavior. That means next time when she's doubting whether it's the right behavior or not, she's more likely to remember, no, that was the right behavior. It did still get me what I was looking for. I just have to try harder. Unfortunately, your dog can learn the exact same thing for things that you don't want. No. Pawing them was the right behavior. I just need to growl a little bit when I do that. So it's a similar concept, just you can use it to strengthen a behavior, or if I completely ignored Mally's retrieve, it would go away. It would go away relatively quickly because it's not the longest and strongest behavior that she has, but even other behaviors can go away. Here, because it's a new behavior, if I wanted it to go away, I wouldn't bother with any type of punishment. There's really no need for it. She would get a little bit frustrated if I really needed to just like couldn't deal with it for whatever reason. Again, I could have her on leash and I could just go no, and I could put her away if she's being inappropriate. But largely, I would let the behavior extinguish itself. If you want the behavior to truly go away, often you will have to wait multiple times for it to happen. And the reason that I do tend to add punishment is more for the fact that dogs can get really frustrated, especially if it's a behavior that they think is correct because they are always getting rewarded. But also because I know it's incredibly frustrating for people. And if we eventually give in because we hate the behavior so much, so you just give them what they want, each time that makes it harder and harder. So if you can't wait half an hour for your dog to start barking at you, I will often use just that little bit of punishment to make it more fair for the human and the dog in the situation. I don't want the dog working themselves into a tizzy because they got so frustrated, because usually after half an hour of barking they get rewarded, and I want the human to be able to successfully train their dog. So do just keep that in mind. If you're not comfortable with punishment, you can still wait them out. Just watch for your dog's mental state, because some dogs do get really frustrated during extinction bursts. My dogs are pretty used to different types of training, so they experiment, but pay attention to your own personal dog. So that's a quick overview of extinction bursts and why they're important. I hope that helps. Extinction bursts really are pretty relevant to a lot of different training activities, and really as far as just figuring out how to increase or decrease our dog's behavior. So they go really nicely, especially when you want to start fading off rewards, or if you're struggling with a behavior that's just not going away. Do keep in mind, sometimes behaviors are self-reinforcing, so they don't need any reward from us for the dog to enjoy it. Barking tends to be one of those behaviors, often just because other things in the environment are rewarding for them, but some dogs just naturally like barking, such as hounds. So if your dog is barking outside, they could be reinforced by people going away, by continuing to walk even. That can be reinforcing for your dog. So it's not always something that you are doing that is reinforcing the behavior. Just something to be aware of and to keep in mind. Have a great day.